Hey everybody, it's Angie, also known as Delight. Welcome to my channel. Sorry if there's so much sun. I want to sit outside to record. It's a beautiful day in New York. So you're just going to have to listen to the birds chirping and there'll be a whole bunch of sun in my face. But I'm sure you can see me well. Okay, so like, subscribe. If you'd like to make a donation, you can do so. My Cash App and PayPal information will be in the comment section. If you'd like to book a conversation with me, you can do so. So it's $15 for 30 minutes, $30 for an hour. We can talk about anything you want to, pretty much. I'm like a wide range person. We could talk about astrology situations that you've experienced. We could talk about narcissism. We could talk about spiritual experiences. That's basically what I can help you with. I can lead you to healing from narcissistic abuse as well. Okay, so this video pretty much is coming from somebody who donated, and I'm gonna be doing this video for her. She wants to remain not anonymous, which is fine. Pretty much everybody I do videos for, I keep anonymous. I don't say their name, but thank you for the donation. And basically, she didn't give me too much about this situation, but I was like, you know what, I can make that into a video for sure. So she was saying that she's experienced narcissists who had scaly skin. Me personally, I haven't been around a lot of scaly skin narcissists. But one thing I do know for sure, like I wasn't surprised that she said that. She's been around the narcissist that she's been around had scaly skin. And if you have experienced that, we could put that down in the comment section, because that hasn't been like my experience. I had one narcissistic friend. Actually, she was my best friend from like I was 9 years old to I was 26 years old. And she had scaly skin, and she had horrible case of psoriasis, like just all over her elbows and her knees, the corner of her mouth, her eyes, her fingers. And she didn't take care of it the way that she should have. And she made pretty decent money. She had health insurance. She could have taken care of her skin, and she did. There would be days like her fingers would be bleeding, and I'm like, yo, your fingers are bleeding. And she's just like, oh yeah, I know. Then on top of that, she had this nervous tick thing where she would bite her nails, so all of her cuticles and her fingers would be bleeding. So first of all, as we know, narcissists do not like themselves. They do not love themselves. Most likely, the narcissist grew up in a home where someone didn't take the time out to teach them how to groom themselves. They didn't teach them about puberty or anything. They didn't teach them about hygiene. And because of that, that's why you're going to come across a lot of narcissists who are stink. Like I was talking about that the other day in one of my videos, and someone was like, well, you don't seem like somebody who would hang out with stinky people. No, I'm not a stink person. I'm big on hygiene. But at the same time, I have been around a lot of smelly narcissists, believe it or not. And not like smelly like they were so overwhelmingly stink that I smelled them all the time. But when I think back to all the narcissists, probably besides my narc best friend, had hygiene issues. So the first narcissist, well, not the first, but one that really stands out to me is my narcissistic grandmother, who I lived with until she passed. I lived with her maybe for like 10 or 12 years before she passed away. This is probably one like the really bad cases of being around a narcissist that was just so dirty. Not only was the house dirty, but she was dirty. She didn't take showers. I never, like, she only took a shower once a week, and that was on Sundays before she would go to church. Now, I know plenty of people who are in their 70s and who are in their 80s. So if she can go to the casino, twice a week, I'm sure you can wash your ass more than twice a week. She would do things like when I got in the shower, she would cut the water on in the kitchen. I would literally just had, urinated. You know how you urinate or use the toilet before you get into the shower? I would do that. And it was like she would be counting the minutes and the time that I'm bathing. And it's those times where I'm like, I have shampoo in my hair and she's in the kitchen being like, evil and cutting on the water so that I can take a proper shower. Just really controlling, really disgusting. Didn't take care of herself, basically. The only reason why her hair would be done is because I would do it. If I didn't wash her hair, because I'm a hairstylist, if it wasn't me that was washing her hair, she wouldn't wash her hair at all. She would go a whole month or 2 months, without washing her hair. Even though she had Caucasian type of hair because she was Native American, um, still, it was just like greasy. There'll be dandruff in it. It would smell sour. It was just nasty. She would just take a brush and water and just like brush her hair back. Um, it's like they don't take the proper time to take care of themselves. So they may appear pretty on the outside. Like I used to talk to this, well, yeah, I used to talk to this narcissistic dude, and he is fine as hell. Okay, fine as hell, dressed really nice, always wearing name brand stuff or whatever the case. But I remember when he slept over my house, when he woke up in the morning, he didn't brush his teeth. He didn't want to take a shower. I'm like, I have soap. I have a washcloth. I have a towel. Like, you don't want, like, to take a shower before you leave? He was like, no, it's okay. I'm fine. It was just, like, so nasty to me. And I've seen that with other narcissists. This one narcissistic girl, when I met her, how we actually met was because her underarm smelled so bad, so bad. I'm like, how her mother was a narcissist too. Her mother never like got her to like check that out. And it was crazy. She ended up having like an infection underneath her underarms. Like these people like are literally, they're neglected when they're children. So it's not really their fault because they're not even taught. Another narcissist that I used to hang out with, from the neglection of her not even being taught, she would call me and ask me like the weirdest questions. Weird to me because I was taught hygiene. She would call me and say, how do I put a pad on, like a sanitary napkin during her period? What product should I use on my vagina? Like, should I use soap on my vagina? Like, there was like crazy ass questions, random questions. When she lost her virginity, she would ask me like all these crazy questions, and it's just like, go to Google. Like, I felt like I was her mother or her aunt. I literally had to teach her about hygiene. I had to teach her about grooming things. She had this excuse me, she had a hormonal problem. So she would grow like a full beard on her face, and I'll say, well, you can wax it, or go to the doctor, like see what you can do to get the hair. She would just walk around with the hair all out like she didn't care. She would walk in the street with a scarf on her head. She just wouldn't groom. I remember her hands would be so ashy. And I always carry like lotion in my purse, and I'll be like, you want lotion? No, it's okay. And it's like they have this weird self-confidence, but it's like you're not even on point. Like, you're not clean, you're not feminine. It's like, what is that? And that's the reason why also they will mimic you. I've had a lot of narcissistic female friends do that. They will just start to mimic me. You're actually teaching them, being around these narcissists, you're teaching them how to take care of themselves. They'll start using the same products that you use. They'll start doing the same regimens that you do because they never got taught. Also, when it comes to like some of them, they'll go get like a pedicure or a manicure, something basic like that. Because I had a narcissistic stepfather. He was huge on like getting his hair cut, getting a manicure, getting a pedicure. I never smelled him or whatever the case. He was very, very groomed. He was a Libra, so Libra men, they're like pretty boys or whatever. But so I never smelled nothing funny with him. But at the same time, I don't remember him ever teaching me about hygiene, or enforcing that on my stepsister and I. Like, there was times when my stepsister, she would have like dirty panties underneath her bed, and it was just like, she just, like, I can't really blame her because it's like she wasn't taught. I mimicked my mother. My mother was an extremely feminine woman, so I just mimicked my mother. She taught me in trial and error. We all smelled at some point because we were going through puberty or something like that. We didn't know what products, went on our body. But these narcissists, they don't care. If you don't love, you gotta understand, if you don't love yourself, how would you be into self-care? You don't care. So they're just surface based beauty. So for them to have scaly skin, it makes sense. Also, no offense to anybody, but like a lot of like diseases and ailments that we have, it is based on something else too, spiritually. So there's this book, and I've talked about this book before. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. So in this book, it breaks down like certain things that certain problems that you may have and what they can mean spiritually. So it says bad breath, anger, and vengeful thoughts, experiencing experiences backing up. So a lot of times people who breath stink, it's because they lack confidence. That's one. Another thing, it says bedwetting, fear of parents, usually the father. Fear of a parent, usually the father, and that is so true. I knew this kid that used to wet the bed, and he grew up in an abusive home where the father was a narcissist. Let me see what else. Blackheads, small outbursts of anger. I wish I could find. I wish I could find eczema, because I have eczema. So all these different things. This book will really help you. Sometimes it's not just a disorder through your family. It could be a disorder, you know, because of the lack of love that you have for yourself. So this is oh yeah, I know it's like some narcissists sometimes they'll have these diseases and they'll leave the disease untreated. So I'm telling you, get this book. Also, there's some books by a woman named Queen Afu. Afua is a black woman. She's like, oh my goodness, she's a healer. She's amazing. I actually did meet her 2 years ago. She's amazing. She's been around for years. She's worked with Dr. Sabi. But yeah, so get these books because they'll break down help for yourself and to help to understand the reason why these narcissists have all these ailments. So a lot of times what's going on internally inside of you is going to reflect out onto your skin. Like for me, like growing up, I remember being like really insecure and I would have horrible acne breakouts. It wasn't just because I was going through puberty, but now that I'm older and I'm more confident, I notice that I have better skin. You know what I'm saying? You'll take care of yourself. Like my grandmother, who was a narcissist, she had cancer and she left it untreated. Just left it untreated. They think in their mind like they're these gods and they can just get over things. They'll leave things untreated. They'll get diagnoses. You'll talk to a narcissist and you're like, oh, you should try this, you should try that. But they'll tell you to try things, but they're not really even using it. They just heard it. They just heard it from somebody else that this sounds good or whatever the case is. They'll talk about herbs. I was talking to a narcissist about herbs, and I'm like, well, I use herbs because herbs is better for my body system. And he was like, oh yeah, I use herbs too. So I said, well, tell me, what kind of herbs do you use? He couldn't even describe the herbs that he was using. So they'll just do things. They'll go to the gym. They're not going to the gym because they want to, be healthy. They'll see, this is crazy. I know narcissists that go to the gym, their body's on fleek, and then they'll drink Hennessy, Patron, all this. It doesn't make any sense. They'll be, their whole life is one damn shamble, but yet their outer exterior is just on point. So don't get fooled by these narcissists. So I think, hopefully I answered your question. That's the reason why you see that scaly skin, is because they literally, that is their insecurities building up and reflecting whatever is going on in the inside of your mind, your heart, and your soul is going to reflect. It's people like, am I trying to like, you know, toot my own horn? There's times when people's just like, wow, you're glowing. You're glowing.